I find the topic of female space marines to be absolutely fascinating. And it's mostly due to the fact that it's one of the few mediums that I know of which has managed to successfully gatekeep and protect its intellectual property from change for the sake of change. Because at the end of the day, this is what it is. It's just like changing stuff for the sake of changing, in order to allow certain individuals to feel powerful, to feel that they have pressured a company to make a change that is completely illogical and has absolutely no reason except for pissing off the fans. And this is the thing, right? Because I know why they do it. And there have been many videos on YouTube where people have analyzed why is it that Games Workshop was pressured in order to make this change. But when you actually speak with the people on the ground, when you actually speak with the foot soldiers, when you actually go into the forums and talk with the average leftist, and you start, isolating him from the hive mind, and you ask him particular questions, you will notice that they don't know how to answer. And believe it or not, I have done this for several times in the last couple of months. Yes, I do speak with left-leaning people in order to know how they think, in order to realize how they rationalize. And like, once you isolate them, I have noticed that it's almost the same thing over and over again, right? So you talk to them in private where there are no other people, where there's no audience, and you guarantee that, like, what he says, you're not going to make public. And when you ask the question, like, but why do you want female space marines, right? Like, they will answer something like, well, for inclusion. And I'm like, do you know a single woman out there? Like just one. Okay? A single girl. Do you know a Nancy that would love to play Warhammer 40k if she had female space marines? And up to this day, I haven't met a single individual, leftist or otherwise, that would have given me one example, like one friend of his, that would be interested in the medium, but because the medium lacks female space marines, she just doesn't want to play it. And she would immediately purchase it, she would immediately buy it if this change was made. Now what they do say, and I did get this answer, however, is that, yeah, like, they know this one girl who would like if female space marines were there. And I'm like, but is she playing the game? And the answer is yes. Okay, so now if we switch it around, I do actually know many men, that would stop playing if this change was made. So like, the numbers don't add up, Mason. The reason that the men would stop playing is simply because they absolutely despise wokeness. And the moment woke people get ahead, and the moment that they have the company give in to them, these individuals are disgusted. It's kind of like, you know how leftists react when the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence are being kicked off from a football event and they start boycotting that? It's kind of like this, but the opposite. It's for the right-wingers, It's kind of the same mentality. Because, again, like, this change doesn't have to be made. And if you're going to show that you are catering, like if my voice and the voice of many others is ignored and we're not heard, and in exchange you're listening to this fictional audience that doesn't even exist, then why should I keep supporting your company? Why should I give you cash so you use that cash in order to insult me? Because that's the thing, you go on Twitter, and the reason there is this antagonism between the woke and the non-woke is because the woke are incredibly arrogant. They're incredibly insulting. Just look at, comic book creators and video game creators and board game creators. You got, like, the BBC lady now saying that she wants a final purge for gamers, and you have, like, all these racist activists out there. Because at the end of the day, this is what unites all woke people, is this deranged hatred for the cisgender heteronormative white man. I mean, they're the ones that are saying this, they're championing this, they're proud of this, they're announcing this from the treetops, and the only reason they want a female space marine is to be antagonistic. That is the absolute only reason. There is no other justification. They just know that the fans will dislike it, so they want it in for the fans to dislike it. But the thing is, like, they're kind of like a parasitic class of activists that require successful companies in order to leech resources off of, right? So when they latch on to companies, they don't really care if the company survives or not, because then they move on to a different company. So even though the change would be bad for the medium, even though the change would actually get them to lose customers rather than gain, they don't care, because at the end of the day, it would be an ideological win. Now again, maybe I'm wrong. Perhaps I am mistaken, and my hypothesis is incorrect. But I will not change my mind until I see one woman, just one. Okay, like out of the billions of women on Earth, I just want one that would say to me, yes, if Warhammer 40k had female Space Marines, I would purchase it and I would play it. And the only reason that I'm not buying it, that I'm not purchasing it, is because it lacks representation. I don't see myself in the Space Marines. If I hear that argument from one person that it's legit, it's genuine, right? Like you just don't come up and show me. Like I will ask you additional questions. But if I ask you additional questions, then I will say that, yeah, this is sufficient enough evidence for me to believe you. I will change my mind. I'll be like, you know what? Maybe the left actually does want inclusivity for more women to play. But the thing is, Boogie has linked to a study, and I'll make a video about it, which shows that despite all of this push for diversity and representation that we have seen, there is no increase in minorities playing video games. There is no increase. Like nothing that would suggest that all of these consultants and all of these people are helping increase minority. You know what increased in minorities? Anime and Japanese video games. And they don't have these consultants. They have different ideas. They like representation, they like listening, but they go a different way around it without this hatred for the evil cisgender white man. Which, by the way, you can also see if now looking at their Twitter and what they are posting. You can also see the fact that they actually know what the cisgender white man wants and does literally the exact opposite, right? Like when they create a female character, they give her small breasts, no butts, they make sure that she has the Californian man jaw, like all of these things, right? Like just to be antagonistic, just to go out of their way in order to make sure that the medium you're purchasing is as little as the medium you used to buy as possible. And this is the main reason for the antagonism. But again, maybe one day I will find a leftist that will enlighten me, and I will ask, it's like, why do you want female Space Marines? And they will have like something that's not, for representation, inclusivity, for buzzword. No, it's like, tell me the actual reason. How would it make you more happy if there were female Space Marines? Like, like maybe you can have like an interesting plot, an interesting storyline, something, that you thought of. Like, hey, look, like if you had a female Space Marine, like this storyline would open. And I know, they have the Sisters of Battle, which I showed on the screen. But interestingly, how there are other, like female only oriented things, like with the Eldar, right? And they don't want males to be there. Did you notice that? Like, there are female-only factions that are outside of this, then they have with the Dark Eldar and the Eldar, like the witches. Like why didn't they want men to be witches? Huh? There's no push for female representation with the orcs. Why is that? Just find it interesting. Let me know what you guys think. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.